Hello traders, welcome to today's video, Wednesday the 13th of December. This is your Bitcoin update. Nothing's happening. I've been saving this update this morning because I was hoping we'd get some kind of movement that I could talk about, but we haven't. So the update's kind of the same as it has been the past couple of days, really. So levels of support that we've got to be looking at, we've got the previous week low down here and the previous week open. So if we are to drop down and take out these Monday lows, obviously we're missing the wick on this chart. But those Monday lows down here, if we do just continue to fall down, then taking out the Monday lows, coming down into that previous week open, previous week low would be a relatively decent area to look for a possible long position. I've started scaling in slowly onto a long on Ethereum and a couple of other altcoins. I've also taken a couple of shorts on some alts today, but very just slow, not a lot of movement right now. So mainly just flat, neutral on the market. Couple of longs, couple of shorts, see what can play out. Each of them looking like they're fairly reasonable trades. Well, obviously I wouldn't take them if they weren't fairly reasonable trades, but you get the idea. A lack of anything really going on here today. So I think for Bitcoin, there's two scenarios really that we're looking at. It will be to come down, take out the Monday lows, take out the previous week lows and opens and see if there can be a bounce there. Or if we do hold, break above that daily open, you're starting to break this downtrend, and then we can look towards filling this imbalance, inefficiency that we have here, coming back into our current week open, which once again, previous week open has no wick down, it was just straight line up. This week has no wick up, it was just straight line down. So I'd imagine that one or both of those are going to be taken out at some stage, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe in a few days' time, who really knows. Something has to happen before we can start thinking about that. If we look on the Binance chart, just holding this trend right now, just about. Okay, so we've been holding this for a while. Realistically, like I've said before, if we're not to get a sweep of those Monday lows and come down and then get this bounce afterwards, then we're looking down towards 38k. That's where our really important support is, and that's where essentially you're coming back in to test the previous area of value. We've only had a partial retrace of this entire move up, so still very bullish. If this is to hold and it can start to break higher, then it's actually very, very bullish, and you're looking up towards the previous year highs, the previous year open, and all of those levels that we have above us. There's also this macro POC down there at 38,800 that we could very, very easily come in and back test if this does continue lower. So right now, just hanging out in the middle of this. Like realistically, your support's down here at 38 to 38,800. Resistance is obviously 44k, and we're just chilling in the middle of those two levels right now, just waiting for some kind of confirmation either way. ETH BTC and Ethereum in general is something I'm interested in. I do think we're getting to a time where ETH starting not showing strength yet, but showing less weakness. And just from a time perspective, I think there could be a decent move up on Ethereum soon. We've also had this back testing much better than what Bitcoin has done. Okay, coming back into a really good level, a good macro level to be watching on here. So Ethereum looking a little bit better. Ethereum being the one that I'm slightly more confident in a long position. But once again, if Bitcoin does break down, we're looking at ETH coming down to test back in towards that $2,000 area as the next support. What else can we talk about? Funding and all of those kind of things. Let's bring that up. Funding neutral again. Okay, yes, I know it's red, but it's not scary red. It's neutral. There's some negative funding here on BNB. Lots of people shorting BNB. I might have to look at that in a second, but funding not really telling us very much. It's just cooling off. The open interest relatively flat as well. Delta is down as you would expect. Open interest has actually been falling slightly overnight here and into this morning. And it's just mainly a case of long positions just being bought out of the market at this stage. Your liquidations kind of like back up the idea of taking out those Monday lows. Okay, we can see that any longs that have been entering, the ones that are high leveraged, going to get wiped out pretty quickly. Because obviously we had a big drop. So this is actually a fairly large range that we're trading in, although it feels like there's nothing going on. If we do get a drop here, that's going to be enough to knock out those 50, 100x leverage longs. And then once again, there's been a ton of short positions opening within here as well. So yeah, liquidation heat maps, basically suggesting that we take out both sides in order to fuel a move. Still in an uptrend overall, but the main support is lower, so it's just a case of remaining patient at this stage. Legacy markets looking decent. I still think Nasdaq's on its way to a new all-time high. We can have a look at what happened yesterday here, and it's so close. I mean, that might even happen by the end of this week. Certainly by the end of this year, you'd be looking at Nasdaq, the Nasdaq making a new all-time high here, which is going to be very, very interesting to see what happens afterwards, because we know what happened to Bitcoin when it had two all-time highs. Well, actually, this has been a long time in the making. This was a high that we put in back in 2021. 3 years later at this stage, looking at breaking that again. And the ES is still just moving up as well, getting pretty close to that all-time high also on here. So yeah, legacy markets looking mad bullish for now. Even with the DXY just kind of hanging out, we haven't really seen the weakness from the dollar. I do think that this will roll over and fuel a bigger move up. So I kind of believe, right, everyone's looking for that, like, oh, we're going to go into a recession thing still. My bias would be that if we do break all-time highs on the Nasdaq, it's just going to push higher. I think there's going to be a lot of people that really want to short that, and that might not work out too well for them. But that's just a bias. That's just kind of what I think would happen. You can't trade based off of that. You got to trade based off probabilities, and if there is to be an SFP when it does take all-time high, or even if it doesn't take all-time high, then there's going to be trades there. Anyway, I'm waffling. This was a Bitcoin update, but there's nothing to say on Bitcoin, so I've tried to find something else to talk about. And yeah, I'm going to wrap it up here. So PPI data coming out in just over an hour. FOMC tonight. So are we going to see any movement before then? Maybe, maybe not. Bitcoin doesn't really seem to bother with those news events anymore because people are only really interested in it when everyone's like bearish. It's a weird thing. Like, news matters when people are fearful, but when it's in an up market, news does nothing. It just like speeds up a little bit for a moment. So yeah, we'll see what happens during FOMC later. Maybe that's going to be the catalyst for Nasdaq to break that all-time high. And yeah, I'll be live for it. Hopefully something happens. And enjoy your day. And I will see you all in the next update very soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.